Captain Lee Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the stars stretch across the main screen. His ship was massive, nearly 2 kilometers long, carrying 50,000 sleeping colonists in its belly. These people had trusted him to take them to a new world, to Tau Ceti, where they could build new lives. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of computers. Lieutenant Kim Sori sat at her station, checking communication systems. Commander Park Min-ho reviewed Star-E charts at his console. They had been traveling for 8 months, and now they faced their biggest challenge yet. "Captain," Kim Sori called out, "we are approaching the border of Valthari space." Lee Do-hyun nodded. The Valthari Consortium controlled this entire sector. No human had ever been here before. The aliens were known for keeping to themselves, but their space was the only path to Tau Ceti that would not take 3 extra years. "Open a communication channel," Lee Do-hyun ordered. "Let's introduce ourselves properly." Kim Sori pressed buttons on her console. Green lights showed the signal was going out. "Channel open, Captain." Lee Do-hyun straightened his uniform. "This is Captain Lee Do-hyun of the United Earthship Defiance. We are a peaceful vessel carrying human colonists to the Tau Ceti system. We request safe passage through your space. We mean no harm and seek only to pass through." They waited. Space was silent. The stars did not answer. Then Kim Sori's console lit up with red warnings. "Captain, incoming transmission. Put it on screen." The main display changed. Instead of stars, they saw an alien face. The being had gray skin, large black eyes, and no nose that humans could recognize. When it spoke, the translation computer turned its words into English. "Unknown vessel. Your species is not known to the consortium. You will turn around immediately. This space is forbidden to you." Lee Do-hyun stepped forward. "I am Captain Lee Do-hyun. We are humans from Earth. We are explorers and builders, not conquerors. We only wish to pass through your space to reach our new home." The alien's large eyes seemed to study him. "We are High Arbiter Thexkalan of the Valthari Consortium. Your species travels too fast across the galaxy. You expand like a disease, we have heard the stories." Commander Park Min-ho moved closer to the captain. "Sir, perhaps we can explain our intentions better." "High Arbiter," Lee Do-hyun continued, "we are not here to take your worlds or cause trouble. We carry families, children, scientists, and farmers. They sleep in our ship, dreaming of a new world to call home." "Your words mean nothing," Thexkalan replied. "We have watched your kind. In 50 years, you have claimed 12 star systems. You fight wars. You never stop growing. We will not allow this plague to spread here." Kim Sori looked up from her station. "Captain, I am detecting 3 ships approaching our position. They were hidden, but now they are visible." On the screen, 3 dark shapes appeared around the Defiance. They were sleek and curved, unlike the angular human ship. Weapon ports glowed with blue energy. "These are Valthari patrol ships," Thexkalan said. "They will escort you back to where you came from. Do not resist, or you will be destroyed." Lee Do-hyun felt anger rising in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "High Arbiter, you speak of us as if we are monsters. Let me show you who we really are." He turned to Kim Sori. "Lieutenant, prepare a cultural package. Send them our music, our art, our history. Show them Earth's forests and oceans. Show them children playing and families working together." Kim Sori's fingers flew over her controls. "Sending now, Captain." Minutes passed. The alien ships moved closer. Their weapons stayed active. Finally, Thexkalan spoke again. "We have seen your images. They change nothing. Beauty can hide danger. Your art shows a species that dreams of endless expansion. Your music speaks of conquest and victory. Your children will grow up to take more worlds." "That is not who we are," Lee Do-hyun said firmly. "It is who you will become," the High Arbiter replied. "We have seen it before. Species that grow too fast become hungry for more. They take and take until nothing is left for others." Commander Park Min-ho stepped up. "High Arbiter, perhaps we could meet in person. Face to face, we could discuss terms for passage. We could offer trade agreements, technology sharing. No. The word cut through space like a blade. We do not trade with threats. We do not negotiate with those who would consume the galaxy. The 3 patrol ships moved into attack formation around the Defiance, their weapons charged with brighter blue light. Lee Do-hyun looked around his bridge. His crew was young, dedicated, and far from home. Behind them, 50,000 people slept, trusting their captain to keep them safe. "High Arbiter," he said last time we cannot turn back. Our colonists will die if we add 3 years to this journey. Our life support systems cannot last that long. We need this passage. Then you have chosen death over wisdom, Thexkalan said. The consortium has decided. Your species is too dangerous to be allowed into our space. You represent everything. We fear about the galaxy's future. The transmission ended. The alien face disappeared from the screen. Kim Sori checked her instruments. "Captain, the patrol ships are transmitting to their fleet. I am picking up more ships approaching our position." "How many more?" Lee Do-hyun asked. "At least 12, sir. They are big ships, much bigger than ours." Commander Park Min-ho looked at the star charts. "Captain, if we go around their space, it will take 3 years and 2 months. The colonists—" "I know," Lee Do-hyun said quietly. "I know what it means." He walked to the center of the bridge, looking at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there was Tau Ceti, where 50,000 humans could build a new world. Between here and there stood an alien fleet that feared humanity's very existence. "Sir," Kim Sori said softly. "Incoming transmission from the lead patrol ship." "Put it through." A different alien voice spoke, harder and more military than the High Arbiter. "Human vessel, this is Admiral Velthar of the Consortium Defense Fleet. You have been declared a threat to sector security. You have 24 Earth hours to leave our space. If you are still here when the time ends, you will be destroyed." The transmission cut off. The bridge fell silent except for the hum of computers and the distant sound of air recyclers. Lee Do-hyun looked at his crew. They looked back at him, waiting for orders, trusting his judgment. "Lieutenant Kim, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them our situation." "Yes, sir." "Commander Park, call a senior staff meeting. We need to discuss our options." "Right away, Captain." Lee Do-hyun stared at the main screen where alien ships waited in the darkness. 24 hours to decide the fate of 50,000 sleeping souls. The countdown had begun. The conference room felt smaller than usual. Captain Lee Do-hyun sat at the head of the table, looking at his senior officers. Each face showed the weight of their impossible situation. Dr. Choi Hyejin, the ship's expert on alien cultures, had dark circles under her eyes. She had been studying Valthari communications for the past 6 hours. "Captain, I have been analyzing their language patterns and cultural references. The Valthari are genuinely terrified of us." "Terrified?" Commander Park Min-ho asked. "They have more ships and better weapons." "Not of our military," Dr. Choi explained. "They fear what we represent. In their transmissions, they use words that translate to endless hunger and star plague when they talk about humans." Major Kang Ji-won, the Marine commander, leaned forward. "What exactly have they heard about us?" Dr. Choi pulled up data on her tablet. "They know about our conflicts with the Rigel Mining Consortium 5 years ago. They know we claimed 3 systems in the Centauri cluster in just 2 years. To them, we look like a species that never stops growing, never stops taking new territory." Chief Engineer Yu Tae-hyun shook his head. "Those were legal settlements. We followed all galactic law. The Valthari do not see it that way," Dr. Choi continued. "Their culture values stability and control. They have held the same territory for 300 years. A species like ours that expands rapidly represents chaos to them." "Lieutenant," Kim Sori looked up from her communication reports. "Captain, I have been monitoring their fleet communications. 12 ships have joined the 3 patrol vessels. They are forming a battle line across our path." Lee Do-hyun studied the tactical display. Red dots showed Valthari positions. His single ship was surrounded by 15 enemy vessels. "What are our chances in a fight?" he asked Major Kang. The Marine commander was quiet for a moment. Sir, their ships are larger and have more advanced weapons. Our advantage would be in maneuverability and tactics, but against those numbers. He shook. His head chief engineer Yu Tae-hyun spoke up. Captain, I have been running calculations on our quantum drive. If we pushed it beyond normal limits, we could potentially break through their line. What would that cost us? Lee Do-hyun asked. Significant damage to the drive systems, Yu Tae-hyun replied, and it would be seen as an act of war. We would be attacking their blockade. Commander Park Min-ho leaned back in his chair. There has to be a diplomatic solution. Major conflicts have been avoided through negotiation. I tried to reach their high arbiter again, Kim Sori said. They refuse all communication attempts. Dr. Choi looked at her notes. Captain, I think their fear runs deeper than politics. In their historical records, they mention a species called the Deverak, who expanded across their region 2,000 years ago. The Deverak consumed entire worlds before moving on. The Valthari barely survived. So they think we are like these. Deverak? Lee Do-hyun asked. Exactly. To them, rapid expansion equals destruction. The room fell silent. Outside the conference room windows, stars waited. Somewhere among them was Tau Ceti and the promise of a new world. Major Kang broke the silence. Captain, what about our colonists? If we fight and lose, they all die. If we retreat, they die, slowly as life support fails. I am aware of both possibilities, Major. Lieutenant Kim Sori checked her tablet. Sir, 18 hours remain until their deadline. Lee Do-hyun stood up and walked to the window. Space looked peaceful, but he knew alien ships waited in the darkness, weapons ready. Dr. Choi, is there anything we could offer them? Technology, knowledge, something that might change their minds? The xenobiologist thought for a moment. Human medical technology is very advanced. Our life extension treatments could help them. But sir, they have already rejected any form of trade or cooperation. They said our gifts would be poisoned with conquest, Commander Park added. Chief Engineer Yu Tae-hyun pulled up technical displays. Captain, I need to tell you something about our quantum drive option. If we use it to break through their line, the energy release could damage their ships, as well as ours. Casualties on both sides, Major Kang said grimly. Yes, sir. Lee Do-hyun returned to his seat. Options. I need options that do not end with 50,000 people dying. Kim Sori raised her hand slightly. Captain, what if we sent a small shuttle with volunteers to meet with them directly? Face-to-face contact might help them see we are not monsters. They have already refused direct meetings, Commander Park pointed out. But that was through official channels, Kim Sori continued. What if we approached them as individuals, not as representatives of Earth? Dr. Choi nodded slowly. It might work. Personal contact could break through their fear. Or get our people killed, Major Kang said bluntly. Before anyone could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Red lights flashed in the conference room. Bridge to captain, came the voice over the intercom. Valthari ships are moving into attack formation. They are charging weapons. Lee Do-hyun pressed the communication button. On my way. The senior staff rushed to the bridge. On the main screen, alien ships had formed a wall of metal and energy weapons. Blue light pulsed from their cannon ports. Captain, called Ensign Oh Kyung-ho from the navigation station. Incoming transmission from the Valthari flagship. Put it through. A new alien face appeared on screen. This one looked older, with scars across its gray skin. When it spoke, its voice carried the weight of authority. Human vessel, I am Admiral Velthar of the Consortium Defense Fleet. Your time grows short. We have analyzed your ship and weapons. You cannot win a battle against us. Lee Do-hyun stepped forward. Admiral, we do not want to fight you. We only want passage to continue our journey. Your journey ends here, Velthar replied. We have made our decision. Your species represents a threat to everything we have built. We will not allow you to spread further. Admiral, please reconsider. We are carrying families, children. The Deverak also carried families before they became destroyers, the alien admiral interrupted. We will not make the same mistake our ancestors made. You have 16 hours to leave our space. The transmission ended. Lee Do-yun looked around his bridge. His crew waited for orders. Behind them, 50,000 colonists slept, trusting their captain to keep them safe. Sir, Ensign Oh Kyung-ho said quietly, what if we are wrong? What if fighting them makes us exactly what they fear we are? The bridge fell silent. The young ensign had spoken what many were thinking. Ensign, Lee Do-yun said carefully, if we do nothing, 50,000 people die. If we retreat, 50,000 people die. If we fight, we have a chance to save them. But at what cost, sir? Oh Kyung-ho asked. If we start a war, Commander Park placed a hand on the young officer's shoulder. The war started when they refused us passage, ensign. We did not choose this. Lee Do-hyun walked to the captain's chair, but did not sit down. He looked at the main screen where alien ships waited in perfect formation. Lieutenant Kim, send a message to all crew. Tell them to prepare for possible combat operations. Yes, sir. Chief Yu, begin preparations for quantum drive enhancement. Understood, Captain. Major Kang, ready your Marines. They will be ready, sir. Lee Do-hyun finally sat down in his command chair. 16 hours to find a solution that did not exist. 16 hours to save 50,000 lives. The countdown continued. The mess hall buzzed with nervous energy. Crew members sat in small groups talking quietly. Everyone knew what was coming. In just 8 hours, the Valthari deadline would expire. Lieutenant Kim Sori sat with Tactical Officer Shin Jae-min and Flight Commander Bae So-young. They picked at their food without much appetite. My pilots are ready, Bae So-young said. But those Valthari ships are huge. Our fighters will look like insects next to them. Shin Jae-min nodded grimly. I have run every combat simulation I can think of. We can hurt them, but they will hurt us worse. Kim Sori pushed her food around her plate. I keep thinking there must be something we can say to them, some way to make them understand. They do not want to understand, Shin Jae-min replied. They have already decided we are the enemy. At a nearby table, Ensign Oh Kyung-ho sat with other junior officers. His voice carried worry. What if we are making a mistake? What if there is another way? Like what? Asked Petty Officer Nam Ji-hoo. Go around and let everyone die slowly? Maybe some could survive, Oh Kyung-ho said. Maybe we could put more people in emergency stasis. For 3 extra years? Nam Ji-hoo shook his head. The systems cannot handle it. I have checked every calculation. On the bridge, Captain Lee Do-hyun stood alone at the observation deck. Commander Park Min-ho found him there staring out at the stars. Sir, the crew is asking questions, Park Min-ho said. What kind of questions? Whether we are doing the right thing, whether the lives of our colonists are worth starting a war. Lee Do-hyun was quiet for a long moment. Commander, do you have children? Yes, sir. 2 daughters back on Earth. I have a son, Lee Do-hyun said. He is 12 years old. When I took this mission, I promised him I would come home. But I also promised 50,000 people I would get them safely to their new world. Both promises matter, sir. Yes, they do. Lee Do-hyun turned to face his first officer. But if we let fear stop us from defending the right to exist, then we have already lost something important. In the engineering section, Chief Engineer Yoo Tae-hyun worked with his team to modify the quantum drive. The modifications were dangerous. Push the drive too hard, and it could tear the ship apart. Chief, called Engineer Lee Sunmi, the power calculations are at the edge of safety limits. I know, Yoo Tae-hyun replied, but if we do not try, everyone dies anyway. Dr. Choi Hye-jin sat in her laboratory, still studying Valthari communications. She had been working for 12 hours straight, looking for any clue that might help. Her computer chimed with a new intercept. The translation system worked to decode the alien words. As the meaning became clear, Dr. Choi's eyes widened. She grabbed her tablet and ran to the bridge. Captain, she called as she entered, I have found something important. Lee Do-hyun and Commander Park turned from their discussion of tactical plans. What is it, Doctor? Dr. Choi activated her tablet, showing communication intercepts. I have been listening to their internal communications. The Valthari are not just afraid of us, expanding. They are afraid of us because we represent something they cannot control. Explain. Listen to this. She played an audio file. Alien voices spoke in their own language, with English translation appearing on screen. The humans multiply faster than we can study them. They adapt to new situations in ways we cannot predict. If they enter our space, we will never be able to manage the threat they represent. Lee Do-hyun read the translation again. They see us as unpredictable. More than that, sir. They see us as impossible to contain. Their entire culture is built on control and order. We represent chaos to them. Commander Park studied the data. So this is not just about territory. No, sir. This is about fear of change itself. Humans change too quickly for them to feel safe. Before Lee Do-hyun could respond, alarm sounded. Lieutenant Kim Sori's voice came over the intercom from the bridge. Captain to the bridge immediately. The Valthari are moving. They rushed to the command center. On the main screen, the alien fleet was repositioning. Instead of 15 ships, now there were 20. Captain, Kim Sori reported, 5 more Valthari vessels just arrived. They are taking positions to surround us completely. Tactical Officer Shin Jae-min checked his displays. Sir, they have enough firepower to destroy us 10 times over. Time remaining? Lee Do-hyun asked. 6 hours and 20 minutes, Kim Sori replied. Flight Commander Bae So-young entered the bridge. Captain, my pilots are ready for launch. We have 48 fighters prepared for combat. Against 20 capital ships, Commander Park said, quietly. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood the odds. Ensign Oh Kyung-ho looked up from his station. Captain, may I speak freely? Go ahead, Ensign. The young officer stood up. Sir, I have been thinking about what the Valthari said, about us being like the Deverak who destroyed worlds long ago. What if they are right? What if fighting them proves we are exactly what they fear? Murmurs went around the bridge. Several crew members nodded. Lee Do-hyun looked at the earnest young officer. Ensign, what would you have us do? I do not know, sir. But maybe there is a choice we have not considered. Such as? What if some of us stayed behind? What if we gave them hostages to prove we mean no harm? Major Kang Ji-won, who had just entered the bridge, shook his head. Ensign, that is not how hostage situations work. They would just have prisoners. But it might show good faith, Oh Kyung-ho insisted. Lee Do-hyun walked to the center of the bridge. Around him, his crew waited for wisdom he was not sure he possessed. Ensign Oh, I understand your concern. But we did not start this confrontation. We asked politely for passage. We offered trade and friendship. We showed them our art and culture. They responded with threats and weapons. He looked around the bridge, meeting each person's eyes. We are carrying 50,000 people who trusted us to take them to a new home. Men, women, children, elderly, sick, healthy, all of them depending on us. If defending their right to live makes us the monsters the Valthari think we are, then so be it. The bridge was silent except for the hum of computers. But sir, Oh Kyung-ho said softly, what about the consequences? If we fight, other alien species will hear about it. They will fear us too. Maybe, Lee Do-hyun acknowledged. But if we surrender now, if we let fear decide our actions, then we send a different message. We tell the galaxy that humans can be bullied, that our lives do not matter, that we will abandon our people when threatened. Commander Park nodded. The captain is right. We cannot let fear make our choices for us. Dr. Choi looked at her tablet. Captain, there is one more thing. In the Valthari communications, they mentioned something called the test of fire. It seems to be a cultural concept about proving worthiness through adversity. You think this is a test? Lee Do-hyun asked. I am not sure, but they keep mentioning whether we will prove our nature through our actions. Lieutenant Kim Sori checked her console. Captain, incoming transmission from the Valthari flagship. Put it through. Admiral Velthar appeared on screen. His alien features looked harder than before. Human Captain, you have 5 hours remaining. We have brought additional ships to ensure your compliance. You cannot win this battle. Admiral, Lee Do-yun replied, we do not want this battle, but we will not abandon 50,000 innocent people to die. Then you choose war over wisdom. We choose life over fear. The alien admiral stared at him for a long moment. So be it. When your time expires, you will discover the price of defying the consortium. The transmission ended. Lee Do-yun looked around his bridge one last time. All hands prepare for combat. We have 5 hours to get ready. The countdown continued, and war waited in the darkness between stars. The first Valthari plasma cannon fired exactly when the deadline expired. A beam of blue energy struck the Defiance's forward shields, sending vibrations through the entire ship. Emergency lights flashed red as the bridge crew held onto their stations. Shields down to 80%, reported Tactical Officer Shin Jaemin. Multiple contacts firing. They are targeting our shield generators. Captain Lee Do-hyun gripped his command chair as another blast rocked the ship. Return fire. All batteries target their lead ship. The Defiance's weapons blazed into space. Orange beams and missile trails reached toward the alien fleet. Most shots struck Valthari shields and scattered harmlessly. Minimal damage to enemy vessels, Shin Jaemin reported. Their shields are stronger than ours. A coordinated salvo from 3 Valthari ships hammered the human vessel. Sparks flew from bridge consoles as the ship shook violently. Hull breach. On deck 12, called Lieutenant Kim Sori. Emergency teams responding. Shields down to 60%, Shin Jaemin added. Flight Commander Bae So-young's voice came over the communication system. Bridge. Fighter squadron launching now. On the main screen, 48 small human fighters poured from the Defiance's launch bays. They scattered in all directions, too fast and small for the big Valthari ships to target easily. Fighters engaging, Bae So-young reported. Beginning attack runs on enemy shield generators. The human fighters swarmed around the massive alien vessels like angry insects. Their small weapons could not penetrate the shields, but they forced the Valthari to split. Their attention. In engineering, Chief Engineer Yoo Tae-hyun worked frantically at his console. Alarms screamed as systems overloaded throughout the ship. Power grid destabilizing, called Engineer Lee Sun-mi. We are losing primary systems. Reroute power from life support to shields, Yoo Tae-hyun ordered. Emergency air only. That will give us maybe 2 hours of breathing time, Lee Sun-mi warned. Then we better win this in 2 hours. Yoo Tae-hyun's fingers flew over his controls. He began rotating shield harmonics, changing the frequency every few seconds. It was dangerous. If he made a mistake, the shields would collapse completely. On the bridge, the effect was immediate. Shield efficiency increasing, Shin Jaemin reported with surprise. The rotating frequencies are deflecting some of their plasma beams. How long can we maintain it? Lee Do-hyun asked. Unknown, Captain. Chief Yu is pushing everything beyond design limits. Another massive explosion rocked the ship. This time, the lights went out completely for several seconds before emergency AE power kicked in. Direct hit on Section 7, Kim Sori reported. We lost 2 missile launchers. In the fighter cockpits, human pilots pushed their small ships to the limit. Flight Commander Bae So-young led her squadron in desperate attacks against the alien giants. Gold leader to all fighters, she transmitted. Focus fire on the 3rd ship's aft shield generators. Hit them fast and get out. The fighters dove toward their target. Valthari point defense systems filled space with energy bolts, but the human ships were too quick and agile. Direct hits on target, called pilot Kim Min-jae. Their aft shields are flickering. All fighters concentrate fire on that weak spot, Bae So-young ordered. Meanwhile, in the damaged sections of the Defiance, Petty Officer Nam Ji-hoo worked to repair hull breaches. As he welded damaged plating, he noticed something strange about the Valthari weapon impacts. Computer, analyze the shield discharge patterns from enemy impacts, he said to his handheld device. Data scrolled across the small screen. Nam Ji-hoo's eyes widened as he saw the pattern. Bridge, this is Nam Ji-hoo in Section 12. He called over the communication system. "Go ahead," replied Commander Park Minho. "Sir, I am seeing something weird about their shields. When the Valthari recharge their shield generators, there is a 2-second window where the entire grid flickers. Can you be more specific? Every time they fire their main weapons, their shields drop power for exactly 2 seconds to feed energy to the guns. If we time our shots right, we could punch through." On the bridge, Tactical Officer Shin Jamin heard the report and immediately began analyzing enemy firing patterns. "Captain, Namjihu is right. I can track their firing cycle. If we coordinate our weapons with their power distribution—" "Do it," Lee Do-hyun ordered. Shin Jamin worked quickly, programming the ship's weapons to fire in sync with Valthari's shield fluctuations. The next time the lead alien ship fired its main cannon, the Defiance's entire weapons array focused on one target. The concentrated human fire struck just as the Valthari shields flickered. Energy beams and missiles penetrated the weakened defenses and struck the alien ship's hull directly. "Direct hit," Shin Jamin reported with excitement. Enemy vessel showing significant damage. But the victory was short-lived. The damaged Valthari ship was quickly covered by its companions, and they adjusted their firing patterns to prevent the same vulnerability. "They learn fast," Commander Park observed. "So do we," Lee Do-hyun replied. Another coordinated alien assault hammered the Defiance. This time, quantum torpedoes joined the plasma beams. The explosion sent crew members flying across the bridge. Dr. Lim Subin's voice came over the intercom from Medical Bay. "Bridge, I have 37 wounded crew members down here. I need more medical supplies." "Doctor, how bad are the injuries?" Lee Do-hyun asked. "Mostly burns and impact trauma. But Captain, if this keeps up, I'm going to lose people." The battle raged on. Human fighters continued their hit-and-run attacks while the Defiance traded long-range fire with the alien fleet. But the odds were overwhelming. "Captain," Kim Sori called out, "our shields are down to 20%. One more concentrated attack and they will fail completely." "Chief Yu, what about the quantum drive modifications?" Lee Do-hyun asked over the intercom. "Ready, Captain," came the reply from engineering. "But if we use it for the breakthrough maneuver, we risk tearing the ship apart. And if we do not use it, we will be destroyed in the next few minutes anyway." Lee Do-hyun looked around his bridge. Smoke drifted from damaged consoles. His crew was wounded, but still fighting. Outside, his fighters dodged and weaved through enemy fire. "Chief Yu, prepare for quantum drive activation, but not for breakthrough." "Sir, I want you to create a localized space-time distortion, something that will disrupt their targeting systems without moving us out of the combat zone." "Captain, that is extremely dangerous. The gravitational effects could crush our own ship." "Can you do it?" A pause. "Yes, sir. I think so." "Then do it." Chief Engineer Yu Tae-hyun took a deep breath and began the most dangerous procedure of his career. His hands moved over controls that were never meant to be used this way. "Quantum drive charging," he announced. "All hands, prepare for gravitational distortion." The space around the Defiance began to bend. Reality twisted as the ship's quantum drive created a pocket of warped space-time. The effect on the Valthari fleet was immediate. Their targeting systems, designed for normal space, could not lock onto the human ship through the distortion. Enemy fire accuracy dropping dramatically, Shin Jamin reported. "They cannot target us properly." "Now," Lee Do-hyun ordered. "All fighters, all weapons, concentrate fire on the nearest enemy ship." Every human weapon fired at once. Fighters dove in from all angles, while the Defiance's main guns blazed. The concentrated assault, timed perfectly with the Valthari shield fluctuation, struck home. The alien ship's shields collapsed. Human fire tore through armor plating and into the vessel's core systems. Explosions rippled along its hull. "Enemy ship is breaking apart," Shin Jamin announced. The first Valthari vessel died in a burst of light and debris. But victory came with a price. The quantum distortion was tearing at the Defiance's own structure. "Hull stress approaching critical levels," Chief Yu warned. "I have to shut down the drive." "Do it," Lee Do-hyun ordered. As the space-time distortion faded, the Defiance returned to normal space. The remaining Valthari ships immediately resumed accurate fire. Shields failing, Shin Jae-min reported. We cannot take another direct hit. Lee Do-hyun looked at the tactical display. 1 enemy ship destroyed, 19 remaining. His own vessel was critically damaged, but something had changed. The Valthari ships were no longer advancing. They held their positions, weapons ready, but not firing. Captain, Kim Sori said with surprise. Incoming transmission from the Valthari flagship. The main screen flickered and Admiral Velthar appeared. But now the alien looked different. Instead of cold hostility, there was something else in his large black eyes. Human Captain, the Admiral said slowly. You have fought well, but this battle has cost both our forces. Perhaps it is time to talk. Captain Lee Do-hyun stared at Admiral Velthar on the main screen. Smoke still drifted across the bridge from damaged systems. The crew watched their captain, waiting to see if this was truly a chance for peace. Admiral, Lee Do-hyun said carefully, are you proposing a ceasefire? I am proposing that we stop killing each other long enough to understand what has happened here, the alien admiral replied. What do you mean? You destroyed one of our most advanced warships with a vessel that should have been easily defeated. More importantly, your fighters are now conducting rescue operations. Lee Do-hyun looked at the tactical display. Flight Commander, Bae So-young had indeed ordered her pilots to search for Valthari survivors from the destroyed ship. Our people do not abandon others to die in space, Lee Do-hyun said. Even your enemies. They are people. That matters more than politics. Admiral Velthar was quiet for a long moment. Around him, other Valthari officers moved at their stations, but their weapon systems remained inactive. Captain, we have detected an approaching fleet, human ships arriving in approximately 1 hour. Lieutenant Kim Sori checked her instruments. Captain, I confirm multiple human signatures incoming. It looks like Admiral Rodriguez and the 3rd Fleet. Lee Do-hyun had sent a distress signal before the battle began. Help was coming, but it might be too late to prevent a larger war. Admiral Velthar, Lee Do-hyun said, if we continue fighting when my reinforcements arrive, this will become something much bigger than a dispute over passage rights. I understand, but there are others involved now. The collective mind has been watching this confrontation. The collective mind? Before the alien admiral could answer, space around both fleets began to shimmer. A massive shape appeared, not a ship, but something far stranger. It looked like crystal and light combined, stretching for kilometers in all directions. Captain, Dr. Choi Hye-jin called from her science station. I am reading energy patterns unlike anything in our databases. A new voice filled the bridge, speaking without radio transmission. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. I am the voice of ancients, speaking for the collective mind. We have observed your conflict with great interest. Lee Do-hyun stood up slowly. Who are you? We are the oldest intelligence in this galaxy. We have watched species rise and fall for millions of years. Today we witnessed something remarkable. The crystal entity pulsed with soft light as it spoke. The Valthari feared you would be like the Deverak, a species that consumes and destroys. Your actions in battle have proven otherwise. How so? Admiral Velthar asked. The Deverak would have destroyed all Valthari ships and taken their resources. Humans chose to rescue survivors instead of pressing their advantage. This is not the behavior of destroyers. Lee Do-hyun felt some of the tension leave his shoulders. We never wanted to be your enemies. We understand that now, came a new voice. An elderly Valthari appeared on a secondary screen. I am Elder Thek Morun of the Consortium Council. I have been watching the rescue operations conducted by your fighters. Flight Commander Bae So-young's voice came over the intercom. Captain, we have recovered 43 Valthari survivors. They are requesting permission to return to their fleet. Permission granted, Lee Do-hyun replied immediately. Elder Thek Morun's large eyes seemed to study the human captain. You would return, our people without demands or conditions? Of course, they need medical attention. The Devorak would have kept them as slaves, the elder said quietly. Dr. Choi Hye-jin looked up from her analysis of the ancient entity. Captain, I am detecting more ships approaching. Human vessels. but also others. The tactical display showed Admiral Rodriguez's fleet arriving, but also ships of unknown design joining the crystal entity. Admiral Rodriguez's face appeared on another communication channel. Captain Lee, this is Admiral Rodriguez. We received your distress call. What is the situation? Admiral, we have achieved a ceasefire. I believe we are close to a peaceful resolution. The voice of Ancients spoke again. Admiral Rodriguez, your captain has passed a test that few species encounter. The collective mind has decided to reveal ourselves because of what we witnessed here. What kind of test? Admiral Rodriguez asked. The test of character under extreme pressure. When faced with the choice between survival and principle, humans chose to save enemy lives. This is the mark of a species worthy of joining the greater galactic community. Elder Thekmoran activated a private channel to Admiral Velthar. Lee Dohyun could not hear their conversation, but he saw the military commander's expression change. After several minutes, Admiral Velthar turned back to the human fleet. Captain Lee Dohyun, the Elder Council has made a decision. We will grant your people passage through our space. In exchange for what? Lee Dohyun asked. Your friendship, Elder Thekmoran replied, and perhaps something more valuable. Hope. Dr. Choi Hijin looked confused. Hope? The elderly alien's expression became sad. Our species is dying, Captain. Not from war or disease, but from despair. We have become so focused on maintaining control that we forgot how to grow, how to dream of better futures. Your people still have potential, Lee Dohyun said. This conversation proves it. Perhaps. But we need to learn how to change, how to adapt like humans do. Would your people be willing to share that knowledge? Admiral Rodriguez spoke up. Elder Thekmoran, Earth would be honored to establish formal diplomatic relations with the consortium. The voice of Ancients pulsed brighter. This is why we chose to reveal ourselves. Today we saw the birth of a new alliance, forged not through conquest but through understanding. Chief Engineer Yu Taehyun's voice came over the bridge intercom. Captain, our quantum drive is stable again. We can continue to Tau Ceti whenever you are ready. Actually, Chief, I think we will have company on that journey. Elder Thekmoran nodded. The Council has voted. We will send a scientific expedition with you to study human colonization methods. Perhaps we can learn to dream of new worlds again. Over the next few hours, the two fleets worked together to transfer Valthari survivors and exchange technical data. Dr. Choi Hyejin found herself in detailed discussions with Valthari scientists about cultural exchange programs. As the Defiance prepared to continue its journey, Captain Lee Do-hyun stood in his ready room, writing his final log entry about the encounter. Captain's log, final entry regarding first contact with the Valthari Consortium. What began as a confrontation over passage rights has become something far more important. Proof that understanding can triumph over fear. He paused, looking out at the stars where human and alien ships now traveled together. We came to this sector seeking passage to a new world. We found something better. Allies who remind us that the galaxy is large enough for all of us to grow and prosper together. Commander Park Minho entered the ready room. Captain, the Valthari science ship, is requesting permission to join our convoy to Tau Ceti. Permission granted. And, Commander? Yes, sir? Set course for our new home. All ships, maximum speed. The UES Defiance, escorted by Valthari vessels and watched over by the ancient collective mind, resumed its journey toward Tau Ceti. In the Yide, ship's cargo bays, 50,000 colonists continued their peaceful sleep, unaware that their captain had not only secured their passage but opened the door to a new age of cooperation among the stars. Behind them, the Valthari fleet began the long journey home, carrying new ideas about change and growth. Admiral Velthar transmitted a final message to the human ships. Captain Lee Do-hyun, your people have taught us that strength comes not from resisting change, but from embracing it. The consortium will remember this lesson. As the mixed fleet disappeared into quantum space, the voice of Ancients spoke one last time to the empty sector. And so another species passes the test of fire, proving that intelligence and compassion can coexist. The galaxy grows brighter with each such victory. The stars waited, patient and eternal, for the next chapter in the endless story of life among the cosmos.